coach, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that some coaches are at a stage of in their career and in their business that they now want to take the next step and do. So that is essentially starting a youth soccer academy. Now, I want to be completely clear before I get into this. If you're a coach and you're thinking of starting a soccer academy, right, from scratch, I won't be able to help you that way, right? So essentially the way I help coaches to build a soccer academy is first they have to have a coaching business, right? So this video is going to be talking about how to transition from your coaching business where you're doing one-to-one, you're doing groups, you're doing camps, you're doing clinics, into now a youth soccer academy. Okay, so there is a big difference between the two, and what you find in today's market is that a lot of soccer academies actually offer private training as well. Okay, but typically the coaches I work with aren't coaches that want to start a soccer academy from scratch. They're coaches that are starting from scratch. The first step is to build a training business or a training academy. And then once they have demand and parents are looking for it, then they take the next step to scaling into a soccer academy. Okay. So if you have a look at the screen in front, what I've done is I've put a couple of notes here to help you with this guide. Right. So the first one is when you look to transition from moving from a coaching business into a soccer academy, first thing you need to do is you need to build a structured player development pathway. So that essentially means moving from casual training to a clear age-based progression model. Okay, so creating different tiers, essentially U6 to U8, U9 to U12, and then U13 to U16. Okay. Once you've built those different type of tiers, then we've got to define, right, what is the goal in terms of our player development. So defining the technical, the tactical, the physical, and the mental goals for each stage within your club. Okay. So this is where it becomes a lot more different to a coaching business. A coaching business, you can essentially you're adapting the training and you're personalizing the training to the clients that you're working with. In this type of model now, you've got to create and define different areas of the play development model based on the age groups of the different tiers you have within your soccer academy. Okay. Now, the next one is introduce evaluations, reports, and progression criteria. Okay. So very similar to what I do with coaches when they have a coaching business, you have to have some sort of progression that you give to parents that shows how their child is doing. So a very simple one could be in the month evaluation, or in the month report that you then provide to the players and parents of your age group. Now, in terms of the evaluation, what we do with coaches who are at this stage is the evaluation is given to new players who are looking to join that soccer academy. So they might come in, they do a trial session with you, or they do a taster session, and then you provide an evaluation report to that parent. And in that report, it says whether you will be accepting that child into one of the different tiers that you have in your soccer academy. Then the progression criteria. Right, parents want to know that if they're progressing within your soccer academy, there is a pathway to something. So once they get to the U13, U16 age group, right, what is there for their child to progress? Is it tournaments, out-of-state tournaments, scouting events, ID camps, right? Is there more connections with different colleges throughout the country, right? What is there that's going to separate your soccer academy from other academies in your local area, but also at the same time, what is it that you're providing parents that helps with their player progression throughout your academy program. And then add year-round programming, not just seasonal camps, right? So the way this is going to work, especially if you're creating different tiers, is you need to now create a program that is all year round and it's not just seasonal. Okay. Your coaching business might be seasonal, but an actual youth soccer academy needs to now be all year round, where there's both training, there's also matches in place, okay? And then there's other events in between to help with parent engagement and player development. Okay. Now the next point I made here is creating a club identity and a competitive structure, right? So academies obviously are very different to soccer coaching programs, right? So a coaching business, and I've mentioned that already within this video, but academies should be offering more than just training, right? They compete and they represent something of value to parents and players. So very basic things that you should be doing with your soccer academy is registering teams in local leagues or tournaments. Some coaches that I know run an all year round soccer academy, and all they do is they play in tournaments, right? Tournaments and showcase events. So what they will do is they will train throughout the week, and then every once or twice or 3 times during the month, they will play either in a tournament or a showcase event against other teams or other academies in their area to get in front of scouts and to get those players more exposure and a competitive environment against other players. Okay, so registering teams in local leagues or tournaments, developing a recognizable brand, so your name, your logo, your colors, your philosophy, that's what's going to separate your soccer academy from others in your area. Setting a consistent playing style across all age groups. It touches on what I mentioned in the first point, which is defining a technical, tactical, physical, and mental goal for each age group. Like, you need to now start building a playing style or a way of player development style that each player progresses as they go through your different tiers within your soccer academy. And then the next step is, once you start to grow and you're offering an all year round program, you're offering competition, you're playing in tournaments, you're going to have to hire and train coaches to follow your academy philosophy. Okay. Now, if we have a look at the third point, right, what I've added now as well is adding value beyond just coaching. Okay. So adding value is really important, and it's a way that you're going to stand out from other competitors in your local area. So you've already distinguished, right, your setup, you've already distinguished what you need in terms of program. So as I put at the top, why it matters, the other 2 previous points is competition plus identity builds loyalty and attracts serious players. So if you're playing in leagues or tournaments, if you have a really solid branding behind your academy, if you have a solid pathway, player development pathway, if you have great coaches that you're bringing in, if you're doing events constantly, if players are getting scouted to go and play at college or play at a pro club, all of that is going to add value and attract more serious type of families into your soccer academy. Okay. Now, the third point, I'll go back to it now, is adding value beyond coaching. So a more holistic development model. So top academies develop a whole athlete, not just skills. So with these points, is kind of replicating essentially what professional academies do, but you're doing it at the youth or the grassroots level. Okay, so you can start adding strength and conditioning programs, you can do nutrition guidance, you can add mental coaching, confidence training into your academy, you can implement video analysis and performance tracking. And then you've got pathways to trials, scholarships, or semi-pro clubs. Okay. So that is also another thing that parents are going to look at when they want to join your program and your academy is, right, what is the pathway? Is there pathway to go and play at college? Is there pathway to play at a pro club? Is there pathway to maybe play internationally? So it might be a case of you help players to go and play abroad in other markets. So if you're in the US, you might look to help players go to play in Europe. If you're in Europe, your program might build opportunities for them to go and play in other parts of the world, such as the United States, or Asia and the Middle East, or Australia as well. Okay. So is there a pathway behind your soccer academy? And what is it that you offer that differentiates yourself from local competitors? Okay. And then I've just put at the bottom, just to add why this matters. This separates you from basic coaching businesses and justifies higher pricing. Same way when you have your coaching business, the higher the value, the more that you can charge for your services. With an academy, if it goes beyond just competition and you're offering something more to parents, you can justify your academy charging more higher fees because you get results, you do events throughout the year, you help players on a pathway to something, and also, at the same time, you're providing them with a quality coaching experience that they're not going to get anywhere else. Okay. So, coach, if you're at a stage now where you have a training business, right? I want to make this completely clear. Don't get in contact with me because you want to start this from scratch. If you have a coaching business and you want to look to scale it into a full soccer academy, then what I would do is visit description below, book a call with me. I can see where you're at, see where you want to get to, and I can show you a pathway to get into that level. If you're starting from scratch, you can still book a call with me, but the call won't be about starting a soccer academy. It'll be more focused on how do we start a coaching business first that can then scale into a soccer academy later. Okay, thank you, coach, for watching. If you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all the latest content. I'll see you on the next video.